And a very warm welcome back to the channel of nonsense. Now, I was trying to find something good that happened in 2014, but it was mostly a year of viruses, insurrection and global instability. But Conchita Wurst did win Eurovision, which was a big thing. And also BMW introduced the 2 Series Active Tourer, which was a front-wheel drive BMW with 3-cylinder and 4-cylinder engine. So men on internet forums went mad saying that's not a real BMW, my mum's M3 is, or something like that. But anyway, there's an all new 2 Series Active Tourer here, and it's meant to be basically the ultimate family car. So I'm going to take this all new one for a drive on UK roads, take you for a walk around and find out if it is any good and if it's better than that Austrian Eurovision entry, which, to be honest, I can't really remember. But anyway, let's get going. Anyway, apologies for any wind and rain noise. It is windy and rainy. But anyway, here's new 2 Series Active Tourer. It's a 30 grand car, entry level price that is. This one is £36,000 for an M Sport, and there's going to be some plug-in hybrids which I think will take it closer to 40, and I think you could easily take this up to 40 with some options on anyway. The original one of these was an MPV, but BMW is moving away from that and calling this a crossover because it's so comprehensively restyled, redesigned and everything else, but it's basically still an MPV. But yeah, look at this massive grille. It looks fake, but it is actually real. There's some flaps in there which are shut at the moment, but they do open up, so it's not a complete just design exercise. It's certainly striking. It is certainly striking. The original one of these, as I said, was the first front-wheel drive BMW. This is still front-wheel drive, although the plug-in hybrids are four-wheel drive, and some of them are pretty sodding fast. Now, BMW has sold more than 400,000 of these globally. 10% of those were in the UK, and half of them went to people who had never owned BMWs before, and most of them have stayed with BMW. So it's clearly done something good for families. It is a little bit bigger than the old one. It's 4.4 meters long, which is 3 centimeters longer. It's a little bit wider by 2.5 centimeters, and it's a little bit higher. In terms of engines, I'll just get these out of the way really quickly. There's a 4-cylinder diesel with 150 horsepower. There's a 170 horsepower 220i petrol, which is 3-cylinder. There's a 4-cylinder petrol, which is this one, which is a 223i, which has got 218 horsepower. And then there's going to be 2 plug-in hybrids, a 225e and a 230e, and they are 240 and 320 horsepower respectively, and that fastest one will do 0-60 in 5.5 seconds. This, the 223, will do it in 7 seconds. But anyway, it's a mild hybrid, so it has got a small battery pack, which means the boot space is slightly smaller than the diesel one. They've all got dual clutch gearboxes. But anyway, let's have a quick look around it. This is a top spec M Sport one. There is also a Sport model, and that's your entry level version, then a luxury one, then M Sport. M Sport gets bigger wheels. This is actually on 19s. Most M Sports will come on 18s. You get LED headlights. Down the side, you've got these flush door handles, which are kind of very similar to ones on the 3 Series. And around the back, I think, is where it looks most different. It actually looks almost like a member of BMW's SUV family to me. It's kind of a bit taller here, and it just looks, I don't know, just a bit more SUV-like. I'll show you the boot, because obviously this is a family car, and that's going to be important. Is it going to be bright enough? Sorry for the rain on my camera, but yeah, the boot is 406 litres on the plug-in hybrids, 415 litres on the 220i and 223i, and apparently the 218D, so the 218D, sorry, the diesel one is going to be 470. So the diesel one's got quite a bit bigger boot, I guess, because this is mild hybrid. Yeah, it's going to have lost some space under there for batteries. It only goes halfway down that cubby under there. But there are a few things. There's a 12-volt socket there, and you can fold the seats down, but not remotely from the boot, unless that's what these are. No, they're just attachment points. But anyway, let me jump in the back, he says, not shutting it electrically, and I'll show you what a 6'3" idiot looks like back there. That seat is in my driving position. Now, being taller, this should have loads of headroom. Come on, camera, turn around. Yeah, I've got an inch of headroom in here. This one does have panoramic sunroof, which is shut at the moment, but I've got knee room, and I've got loads of space vertically under that seat. You can see my nicely illuminated red wing boots. They're brilliant, I recommend them. And yeah, I don't feel claustrophobic with the door shut. It just feels, I don't know, it feels bigger than a Golf. but not hugely. It's kind of bigger vertically more than anything. I have got 2 USB-Cs down here, a big old cubby hole under there, not much of a tunnel on the floor, that's quite low, and I've got vents here. Yeah, let's have a look in the middle. I've got some cup holders and I've got an armrest as well, and I've got isofix sockets under plastic caps there. But yeah, I think practically speaking, I haven't got my child seats with me. This would make quite a sensible family car in terms of getting kids in and out, because it's a little bit higher than a regular hatchback. But anyway, let me show you up front, because there's some tech up there that we've only seen on really high-end BMWs thus far, and it's now in something vaguely affordable. Up front, it is pretty damn high tech in here. Yeah, you wouldn't be fooled for thinking this is the old one at all, because you've got BMW's new curved display, so you get a big infotainment screen down there and a massive digital driver's display there. That's kind of ripped off the i4 and the iX, so BMW's newest all-electric cars, and it runs on operating system 8 of iDrive, and I know from experience that is the best operating system and experience you can have on a car infotainment system. So very, very good, and I'm glad it's in here. And you also get the new controls on the steering wheel with these little roller jog dial things here, so you can control what appears on that screen, and you can use these ones to control what appears on the head-up display, which sadly is one of those that just appears on a little bit of plastic that flips up out the dashboard, but they work pretty much as well as the ones in the windscreen. They're just not as expensive to make. You've got a Harman Kardon sound system, I said that right in this one, and it all just feels very nice, and it actually feels like it's slightly new. It doesn't feel like every other BMW. You've got an engine start button there, you've got the gear selector, which is this little bit of silver plastic there, you move forward and backwards, and you've got a big old cubby hole with wireless charging for your phone there. And there's actually, I'll put a cutaway in, there's room under here for loads of stuff. So it's a very smartly designed cabin, and all of these have automatic gearboxes. It's a 7-speed dual clutch, so you don't have to factor in cables and faff and everything for a manual gearbox, which helps with room. Oh yes, and you get wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, of course you do, because it's a BMW with this latest system. Anyway, that's more than enough chat about the inside of the new 2 Series Active Tourer. Let's go for a drive and drive it back to BMW's motor plant in Birmingham, where they make motors, aka engines to English people, and find out if this is actually any good to drive despite being a front-wheel drive BMW, aka scourge of BMW forums and Facebook pages. Let's go. Right, I want to go for a razz in my BMW 2 Series Active Tourer 223i. Anyway, foot on the brake, press this little silver start button, move this little plasticky nodule back into D, and away we go. Now, the first thing you notice really about this car is it's got quite a high driving position. It's not quite an SUV, but it is much higher than a hatchback, so you feel like you've got a good view out of the road. And there's Joe Achilles. I'm going to drive for a shot, sorry. Sorry, Joe, don't kill me. I'm in Grandad's car. I feel bad now. I hate driving through people's shots. I don't have an iDrive wheel. First flaw with this car, I want a spinny iDrive wheel, but I don't have one. I've got to use a touchscreen. That's not very intuitive, is it? Right, anyway, let me just zoom the sat nav in. No, zoom. Ah, oh, God's sake. Anyway, doesn't have an iDrive wheel, which does feel like a bit of a miss. I mean, you've got all this space here. Surely there would have been room for a twiddly, rotatey thing of joy. I'm just going to use the mobile phone charging tray, but yeah. Right, sorry, I had a bit of a moment there, interrupting Joe Achilles' YouTubing. But yeah, first impressions of this, it feels narrow, it doesn't feel intimidating to drive, it feels very, very friendly. The mirrors are big, you can see loads out the back, out the rear view mirror, which is frameless, which is quite a nice premium thing. And the view of your shoulders is actually really good. So you can hop into this from pretty much anything and you'll be set. Now, one thing I've already noticed, I forgot that this new iDrive system has augmented reality. So it's like Mercedes's MBUX system. So it's actually showing me, as I came up to that junction, a view forward from a camera on the front of the car with arrows saying, turn right, you idiot. So if you get confused at junctions, there's literally overlays where you need to go on the real world, which is a very cool, clever thing. But yeah, let's talk about the handlinginess and whether this feels like a BMW, because I'm on a twisty-ish road. Ooh, the brake pedal feels awful. The 223i is the fastest non-hybrid one, so I'm going to boot it from 10 to 60 miles an hour. I'm in sport mode, so I've got a slightly gruff, rally-like note, and that is 60 miles an hour. And I can already tell it's front-wheel drive because the steering wheel is wriggling about a little bit under power. However, I can go around this corner safe in the knowledge it's not going to oversteer like a rear-wheel drive BMW might do. And yeah, it feels like a tiny, not hot hatch, but it feels almost a little bit mini-ish to drive. It stays flat in the corners and it's got loads of grip, so you're not going to worry about skidding around, yet you can drive this quickly. And we'll do some more twisty roads in a minute, and then we're going to get on some more relevant dual carriageways and talk about how it feels, if it's noisy, if it's uncomfortable, all that kind of family stuff. I'm sorry I didn't bring my 2 young children to sit in the back and scream, "Daddy, Daddy, can I have a snack?" the whole way through this review, although that might actually improve it. You never know. Right, I'm now on a dual carriageway, so doing about 70-ish miles an hour. And I have to say, this is a very refined and quiet car to drive. So I think long distances in this will be relaxing, not stressful, not knackering. You won't feel like you've been thrown into a pit with a weird mixture of badgers and crocodiles. You're going to feel like you're all right. And you can actually option massage seats on this car for a little bit of extra relaxation. But these seats are really comfortable. They're not leather, they're kind of Alcantara suediness. I actually prefer that because leather is either too hot, too cold, or too slippery, whereas cloth is usually just about all right. So yeah, this is very easy to drive at motorway speeds, and it's comfortable, and it feels like you're in contact with the road. It doesn't feel all aloof and wallowy. So yeah, I'm actually really impressed with how this feels. It feels like a big grown-up car, which I guess it is now, because these smallish cars feel like big cars, and they also kind of cost big car money from a few years ago. But anyway, I'm going to get to a roundabout and show you my favourite thing, which is if I put it from personal mode, which is the normal mode, and weirdly I can't actually customise very easily, but anyway, I'm going to put it in sport mode. And because it's an M Sport one, I've got paddles on the back of the steering wheel. I don't think the lower trim level ones get those. The engine, we need to talk about the engine noise, because it sounds, unsurprisingly, like a Mini. And that's quite a good thing. A Mini Cooper S, it's got this sort of honk to it. If I boot it up here, I don't know, it's not the last word in like, oh my god, it's a rally car, and it's clearly mostly fake, but it sounds interesting. And if you're buying this for your family and you want to actually have some fun in it, that engine, that 223 Isla 217 horsepower 2 litre, it pulls like a train, to use the world's worst cliche. I mean, a 2 litre train, not a 3 litre train, and it's an engine, not a train. But yeah, you can have some fun with this, and this grips and handles really quite well. It's just flat and neat and lovely. It's not going to skid about or anything, but almost feels a little bit like a hot hatch. Can I say that without getting outcast from YouTube for calling an Active Tourer a hot hatch? Yeah, well, it's impressive. One very exciting thing I've not yet mentioned about the 2 normal petrol engines, because they're mild hybrid, you've got about 19 horsepower of electricness being fed through the gearbox to the front wheels. So yeah, a bit of extra instant torque. Not really sure you can feel it, but it is a very punchy engine altogether. I just don't know how much of that is because of the mild hybridness, because as its name suggests, it is mild. It is the Corma of hybrids. The plug-in ones are more vindaloo-y, because they can go 60 miles on a full charge, which is quite far. They've got BMW's Gen 5 iDrive system, so the battery is similar to the one on the i4 and the iX, obviously smaller because this is only a plug-in. But yeah, the plug-ins will be fast and can go quite far, so if you can charge at home, I'd look at one of those, but they will be more expensive to buy, obvs. Anyway, that's more than enough waffling about how the 2 Series Active Tourer drives. Let's go forward in time to an outro, which I haven't filmed yet, but I'm going to conclude. Let's go. Right, time to do an outro in the car because it is way too wet outside to break out my GIMP ball. But anyway, new 2 Series Active Tourer. I'm really impressed by it as a family car, just because it's roomy and spacious, and those back seats, they kind of slide forward and back as a bench, and there's kind of enough room there. There's quite a big boot. It drives actually really impressively. It's got that Mini DNA to it, weirdly, more than anything else. I know it's front wheel drive, but it is got loads of grip and it's actually quite entertaining to drive. The engine in this 223i is punchy. It's probably more power than you actually need in one of these. I've only been getting 40 mpg, so I would just get the 220i and be sensible. And it's vaguely affordable, like 36 grand. Everything's got more expensive, but I think that's kind of all right, really. The downsides to it are the lack of iDrive controller means you have to use the touchscreen quite a lot on the go. And you have got these buttons here for media, telephone, and your nav and everything, but nothing beats the twiddly iDrive knob. So it's a shame to see BMW go towards getting rid of it. They said they got rid of as many physical buttons as possible, but the iDrive controller was the best physical button. And my only other niggle really is the brake pedal is really firm and you have to really push it to get much slowing down. It just feels a bit badly calibrated, to be honest. I can't imagine that's much to do with the mild hybridness, but it's not a great feeling. Other than that, this is a very, very good family car. And if you're in the market for a slightly dull thing that's actually surprisingly good to drive, spacious and all the rest of it, go and check it out. Anyway, thank you for watching. Sorry it's been slightly wet, slightly rushed and slightly boring. But do hit like if it's been helpful. If it hasn't, also hit like and call me a soggy sausage in the comments. And last of all, check out that oak green one. Isn't that majestic? Yeah. Goodbye.